Okay, now we're going to introduce you to some combiner boxes that we've had made to facilitate ease of installation, ease of troubleshooting, cut down on some voltage drop, and other things to improve efficiency. And this is what we would call our refrigerator box. It's got 4 knockouts, a couple of bus bars inside, and it's intended to go on the side of a refrigerator vent. And since we're doing this on a bench, I'm just going to use a piece of 2x, and I'm going to pretend this is the side of a refrigerator vent. You know, you take the lid off, and then you got your screen and this plastic perimeter. So one of the first things you have to be aware of is we don't want the wire going down by the chimney. And as a general rule, the chimney is on one end of that box or the other. And typically it's facing the front of the rig, but not always. So you need to look down in and see where the chimney is coming out. We don't want our wire right there. We want it on the other side. So those are typically metal or plastic, and so to stick this, we just put 3M tape on here. We clean the side of the refrigerator vent with the 91% isopropyl alcohol to get rid of any waxes or debris or dirt or whatever, so that this tape will stick. And the tape is just there for the initial stick. It's not really what's holding this box on, but it does help. So typically we would clean that, peel this off and stick it, but for this purpose I'm just going to screw it down to this wood, and just so it'll be in place so I can show you how to wire it up. These screws are what ultimately end up holding it. So you'll notice that these bus bars are not in the middle, where it's offset one way or another. And if you pay close attention, you'll see that melted into the plastic is a plus sign and a minus sign. So this will be for your positive and negative to go down to your charge controller. So the idea of this combiner box is to allow you to put one panel on your roof, come in through a weather-tight fitting such as this, which would just fit in that hole. Take the lock nut from the back side of the lid here and just screw it down. Bring it up tight. And then once you get it cinched down, that locking nut bites into the plastic. And now you have a weather-tight fitting into which we will insert our custom-made round UV-resistant 10-2 wire with filler to maintain that round, so that when you go through this round hole and tighten this down, it's actually a weather-tight strain relief. And if you're driving in the rain and water chases down this wire, it's going to hit the seal and stop and not send water into your box. So that's why we have this wire built. We want it to fit in a weather-tight fitting. A lot of kits you buy online have what they call tray cable, which is a flat cable with 2 10-gauge wires in them, and you stick them in a round hole and tighten it down, and you've got air above and below it, and water can get right in there. So that's part of the reason for this. Plus it's super flexible. I mean, I can tie knots in this stuff. It's, it's like really flexible wire, which allows us to do a lot of things with it. It's a really high strand count copper so that you can get that flexibility. So when you put it on, you want these bus bars up, and that's so if you're using a gun, you can get to them. If it was the other way, you'd be coming in at an angle, and it would strip the heads out on those set screws, and you have trouble. if you're not using a gun and you're just using a screwdriver, it also gives you knuckle room to turn that screwdriver. So there has been some thought put into this. This is the first of our, combiner boxes specifically for RVs. So what we're going to do is, you'll see there's a hole right here, and you would drill that on through into the refrigerator vent. And then there's a number of different ways to get under that screen. You can just cut that edge and roll the screen back so you can get your hand in there, and then when you're done, you can use this aluminized like duct tape and put it on the inside with a little flap laying out, kind of like that. And then when you put that screen back down, it would stick to that tape, and then you do it on the outside too, and then it seals that back up so that wasps and other critters can't get down in there, and it still lets the air flow through. And another way is you cut a slit down the middle and you take little teeny zip ties and basically suture it back together when you're done, which takes a lot more time than the tape method. But anyway, once you drill that hole out, then this box will only allow up to 6-gauge wires. So it's only intended for smaller systems, 25, 30 amps maybe and less going in, and it only allows like 4 solar panels to come in. So this is intended for those who aren't doing really large systems. We have a different box for very large systems. So these holes hold 10 gauge quite easily. These two right in the middle next to this hole have been beveled out so that 6-gauge wire will slide in there handily. You would have a struggle using 4, 2, anything bigger than 6 gauge. So this is not intended for large wired systems. Okay? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4 positives for up to 4 panels coming in, and then these two that have been prepared for the heavier wire to go through that hole and down into your RV to your charge controller. So it's called a combiner box because each panel is going to have its own output cable coming into it, and then all the panels will be combined in this box, and then a heavier gauge wire that's carrying the combined amperage of all those panels will go from here down into your RV through the refrigerator vent. So let me give you, there's a right way and a wrong way to put this on. And I'm going to teach you the right way because it's a lot easier. A lot of people cuss this box because they don't understand the right way to put it on.